Hey folks, hey, how we doing today? We're getting into another live here with Tim Sisson. We have a few we seem to always have technical difficulties, but we're certainly getting there, and we're waiting for Tim to jump on here. And as we get Tim on, we might also start going over a few of the slow and there we go.
Hey, Billy. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I think it's the cloudy, awful weather, but like none of my technology is working today. Like they're all just everything's just sputtering along and everything's just struggling today. So
Yeah. Well, you're also probably dragging from all the animals that you saw at the zoo today. Yeah.
today was a zoo day. Yeah, we took the kids to the zoo today, and it was freezing. Yeah, we didn't have to worry about like too many crowds or anything, but the polar bears and the penguins seem to be pretty comfortable. So.
Yeah. I mean, you moved to Maryland for warmer weather from Erie, Pennsylvania. So to hear you say that it's cold, that's saying something.
You know what? I'm acclimated. I've been here for so long that I just kind of expect it to be warm these days. Like I don't even. I just want it to be like 70 now and 75, like it was on Saturday. Saturday is beautiful, right?
Yeah, we're all ready for it. We are. Hopefully, we can get some warm weather for our ice cream social. Nice little
Yeah,
segue
well, all
there.
right. All right, we might as well jump right into our events then. So Tim and I have been doing this every month, go through over some things that are going in the area. We go over some things that help you out as far as like buying, selling, market, that kind of stuff. So first is some events. Not, you know what? It's funny, hard finding events for April. I think people like kind of don't commit to April too much. Like they're like,
Yeah.
we'll do our events in May.
Yeah.
April's
Skip
kind of a
over.
wishy-washy month.
That's
So
right.
there's not a lot going on. Some of the things I did find is on April 22nd, it's the Fairy and Gnome Festival in Amory Gardens, which is actually pretty cool. If you've ever been down there, they have all the artwork and stuff down there. And that's not quite your neck of the woods, but you're pretty close down there, right? In the
I'm
St. Leonard area.
I'm
So,
closer than you are. That's for sure. That's right. That's right down the street from me.
yeah. And then I pulled up, and actually, I think this was interesting. April 23rd, they're having the boating safety course, and that's at the County Executive Plaza. So if you're going to get a boating license and stuff, they have it. And they have it almost like every week, but the 23rd was the first one of the year. So
I
if you're
need to
going to
do
get a
that.
boat, like,
I need to
yeah.
do that. I mean, it's why not have a boating license? We're in Calvert County,
Mhm.
for God's sake.
I don't know. It's like not having a fishing pole, right?
Yeah.
You got to have both. I just had to learn how to like cut it up. That's my big thing is I want to know how to do that. For some reason, I want to know how to cut
Clean a
fish.
fish? Yeah, I learned when I
Yeah,
was a kid. I learned on a catfish, which is really hard to clean. You got to stick a
really.
nail through its head. It's gruesome.
Oh, well, if anybody in this video is ever done the cleaning the fish, let me know. I'll come along and I want to practice doing the fish. What else? May 5th. So there's a bunch of stuff in May. So May 5th is a rain barrel workshop, and that's big because it's raining and it's gross outside. So that's actually pretty fun. And it's 11:30 at the Northwest Community Center right there in North Beach. Um, and I know, but my wife and I have to get a couple of rain barrels for our house. And those workshops are always like really fun. And everybody's yard could use a rain barrel for like some gardening and the downspouts in our area, like just throw stuff right into the yard and it's no good.
Yeah,
So rain barrels are really helpful.
might have to
But
attend that one.
that's actually, you know what? If I don't go, my wife might. One of the two of us might go
I'll
because
send my wife then. The
there you
wives
go.
can go. There you
There you go. Yeah,
go.
that's a good idea. And then also on May 5th, North Beach Fire Hall is doing the spring fling. That sounds kind of like a spring, like flea market type thing. It seems like
Okay.
people are having stuff out there and do things. And then of course you mentioned it on May 12th, 11 to 1 at Cold Penguin in North Beach. We're doing our ice cream social for clients, friends, anybody who wants to get out there and meet us and get some free ice cream. And if you don't
Yeah.
want free ice cream, I don't know if we could be friends anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's a good little vetting process of, if you show up to the ice
Yeah.
cream social and you eat ice cream, I want to hang out with you anyhow. But yeah, I posted to
That's-
social media earlier today the flyer. But yeah, May 12th, 11 to 1. I'll be having
yeah.
some mint chocolate chip, maybe 3 scoops mint chocolate
You know,
chip. Yeah.
she does Hershey there, so it can't miss. Like I had when I was there, I stopped by Meter. I had oatmeal cookie dough.
Wow. That's right up your
That
alley. I know you love that
that
stuff.
was
Yeah.
oh my geez, my wife makes the most amazing oatmeal and chocolate chip cookies ever.
Yeah.
So it was delicious. So 11 to 1, come on down. Even you don't have to be buying a house. You just come down and meet us and hang out. I've been pushing this, trying to do as much as I can to just meet people face to face, see how things are going. People, I just like knowing what's going on with folks, and I just like meeting people. So I know
To be
Tim,
honest with you, our events, we don't really even talk real estate. We're just there hanging out, with the brewery stuff, just having a beer, and then we're going to just have some ice cream. Hopefully it's a nice day, but even if it isn't, we'll be out on the deck. It's covered. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, you notice all our events are things that we really like. Like we're doing a beer one, we do wine ones, we do ice cream ones. It's like, and so those guys that do the Super Trooper movies,
yeah,
they have a bunch of money, so they went out and did like Club Dread, where they went to an exotic island, and then they did Beer Fest. Like they just have a bunch of money, and they're just making movies out of fun. That's kind of us. We're just doing our events off of just fun stuff to do. So.
Do what you enjoy, and then try to get people to come around and do it with us. That's what we're looking for.
That's just it. Yeah, hang out. Yeah. Guys want to hang out and drink beer? That's it. That's an event right there. And it helps promote local business, which is really, really why we do it, honestly. Because if you've never been to Cold Penguin or if you've never been to Mully's, that's a shame, and you need to get out there and do those kind of things because those are great places.
I knew that ice cream place was right there on the end, but I never knew that it was named Cold Penguin. That's you enlightened me. Yeah.
I would have. I was actually meeting clients there and the owner, Aaron, all kinds of stuff, and I would have definitely not known the name of it. I knew exactly where it was, but now I know Carol, the owner, and I know all that stuff. So it's awesome.
Cool. Awesome.
So, all right, we jump into it. I have my list here. So if I look like I'm staring off into space, I'm just following my checklist here.
I'm looking at the same list.
Yeah, we got the same. So that way we don't miss anything. We got to. All right. So first thing, I want to talk to you about stuff. Like I mentioned it earlier in this video that I'm trying to do more and more like sit down face to face. And I did a little promotion where I set out your favorite place to eat, and I was inviting people to like go out and grab lunch and hang out. So I'm curious, you, sir, where's your favorite place to eat here in Calvert County?
So I narrowed it down to where I am in Calvert County. I have a northern, I have a southern, and I have one right in the middle. So I work in Dunkirk. I love Chesapeake Grill. I know a lot of people who love it. Chesapeake Grill's got a great menu. If I'm right here near my house, Adam's Ribs. I worked there for 7 years. They have fantastic food. Yeah. I love it there. Well, my wife and I still go. She craves it more often than I do, and we go there on the weekends. And then southern end of the county, if I'm in Solomon's, I love Ruddy Duck. Ruddy Duck has great food. It's not just the beer. I like the beer too, but they have fantastic food, and I have kind of my go-to dishes at each spot. So those are my three spots in Calvert.
Have you been to CD Cafe down there?
Love CD Cafe. Yep, I've been there a couple times. They have great food as well. They have a curry chicken wrap, I think, that my wife gets. She loves that because she loves curry, and so do I. It's really, really good.
That's an acquired taste, isn't it? Curry. That's not easy.
Yeah. Well, I acquired it. I love curry. I had curry chicken for lunch, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
So and anybody on these videos is if you ever want to go out and grab a bite. Tim and I always go out. I know the rest of my team too. We go out, grab your lunch, grab coffee. It's fun just meeting people. I just like enjoying people. You don't have to be buying anything or do anything. Yeah. I just like meeting people. So if you ever have an opportunity where you want to go out and grab something to eat, just see how things are going.
Yeah.
Some of the people I sit down with do amazing stuff. Like I've sat down with people that help run like assisted living facilities, and I sit down with people that are like techs, like computer tech types people. I sat down with like a recruiter, which is a really cool job. You guys just have like really cool things you do, and so it's always nice to sit down and just bounce ideas off each other and just hang out for a few minutes. So if anybody on the list, everybody watching this, everybody that watches it in the future, hit us up.
Well, you're right about that. I like talking to people about what they do. I mean, we could talk about real estate. That's fine. I like to talk about what they do. So for the flower, we were at Floral Expressions. We talked about this in the last video. I learned about flowers, and I was mesmerized when this guy was just talking about, all the different levels of quality of flowers. I never knew that I'd be so fascinated by something, but he had such a passion for it. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun meeting new people. And if you're on this list, or if you watch this and you have a business or run a business, or somebody runs a business, I do all kinds of free stuff. I do videos for people. I do set up websites for people. I do all kinds of stuff. So we just like being out there and being social. So that's how I wanted to start this video off today. Let's do some more stuff, Timmy. Tim, I've been getting this question a lot actually lately, and I answer it once I give you a chance to answer it. But when are you the busiest in a year?
I'll be honest, over the last couple of years, it kind of starts towards the end of March and it doesn't end until September-ish. You know,
Really?
May, June, July, those are really, really busy months for us.
Mm.
I've had really busy Septembers the last few years. And I don't know what that's about, whether or not it's just kind of everyone cleaning up the inventory that's left over from the summer. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, or if you know, those are just the houses that get listed towards the end of the summer. People kind of procrastinate a little bit, use the summer to clean up the yard and that kind of thing, and then list. But yeah, I mean, we just completed our quote unquote slow time. I pre-approved a lot of people in January and February to get ready for the spring market.
Yeah.
They're still out
Yeah.
there, but yeah, April to September is really the busiest times. But there's never a time where we're too busy. You know, it's always good. We're never to the point where we can't communicate with somebody, which is good.
Okay. Yeah, no, and then I'm kind of the same answer. I've got a lot of people that are looking to sell their houses right about now. And
Hmm.
I'm getting the question like when it's busiest. And I usually say similar to what you're saying, like we're ramping up now, May,
Hmm.
June, July. And I have on our list too that weather is actually a pretty big factor. Like it seems like when it's cold and rainy, like days like today, like you don't get as many showings and people aren't out as much. It just seems that people become homebodies on days like this, sit down and watch
Sure.
movies.
Hmm.
So it does, although it slows down a little bit November, December, it's due to weather, really. Like if it's snowing and it's cold and it's crappy, people just don't really get out. But
Yeah.
um,
And holidays. I
I'm with
mean,
you.
the
Maybe,
November, December timeframe, sure, it has something to do with holidays and
yeah,
weather. Kind of those two merging together, it creates for a slower time. But yeah, no, I mean, I would want to see houses with beautiful weather. I mean,
yeah,
I'm that way. I would
totally.
want to go to an open house if it's nice outside. So I completely understand.
And it's just nicer. The houses like show nicer in this time of year. Like it
Hmm.
was Saturday with 75 degrees. We saw a
Oh,
couple of houses and the windows were open, the breeze was coming through. It was just beautiful. It was just nice. And so the trees are starting to bloom. It just makes it easier to do. So maybe it's that too, the staging that nature helps you stage these houses and it makes it easier to buy and sell houses. But
sure.
yeah, I'm getting a lot of that. I usually tell people May and then it slows down like November-ish. But you know, even like you said, last couple of years, November, December, I've sold like 5 or 6 in those 2 months. So it hasn't
Yeah.
gotten slow, but it's faster August and June, July, August, mostly August for me, which is just that's because it's my birthday and people like to buy houses around my birthday. I
Yeah.
think they do that on purpose, like, oh, it's your birthday, let's buy a house. That way you can help get a nice present. That's
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to pinpoint what the reasoning is as to why we're
yeah,
busy when. You know, we want to say summer's good because the weather's beautiful and kids are out of school and things like that. But you know, that could also work against you. So that, I mean, there's two sides to every coin in terms of nailing down why we're busy, why we're not busy, why inventory is high or low.
yeah.
It's more of a trend. You know, like you found. Towards this spring, we thought that we were going to have an explosion of inventory. It just hasn't happened yet.
No.
We're still anticipating it. We've expected it to happen in April, but it hasn't quite happened yet.
And I'd like to blame the weather even for that because I know a handful of people that are still getting their houses ready and
Yeah.
they haven't had a chance to go out and do the landscaping they wanted to do. And they haven't had a chance to do those things because weather's been just awful. So I get people to, with the reasoning, rationale, like, hey, I just want to get like some mulch out there and do this, that, and the other thing, and because otherwise it's not going to show with some dead flowers out front. And it makes sense, you know, and it does get, that's probably why April's been a little slower than we anticipated because people haven't had that chance to get their house like ready. And most of the people I work with want their house to be ready, spotless, pristine, ready to go. So
I'd be the
that's
same
probably
way. I
part of it.
completely understand. Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. No, that's a great question. And I'm glad we were able to answer. And hopefully, if you're one of the people that have been asking me, and I've had, I think last week, like 5 or 6 people that were ready to go and they've asked that question. So, hopefully, if you're
Hmm.
one of the ones watching the video, I answered it well for you.
Yeah.
Home buying process. What part do you find the most stressful? Because although we try to make it seem as smooth and easy as possible, there are definitely parts that are a little more stressful than others.
So my own personal stress, or where I find my buyers are the most stressful, or
That's
both.
one and the same, isn't it? Like
Well,
with
you
your buyers are stressed, that makes you stressed. No?
Well, there's certain things that we do behind closed doors that just to kind of fix just really little things that are not necessarily detrimental to a loan or to a purchase process. It's just something that we have to do to just kind of fix it or move it along. that I might stress about, or a processor might stress about, that a buyer might not even know what's going on.
Hmm.
It's the big items that we have to actually go to the buyer and they might have to fix or address. A lot of that has to do with property issues, to be honest with you. The stresses of a low appraisal or a big repair that we didn't foresee coming, and whether or not a buyer is going to move forward with this purchase, if a seller is going to help out with it. Those are the stresses because we're in limbo. We'll try to push the loan process along, get it into underwriting, get things flowing, but it's the stresses in the back of our minds. Are we going to move forward with this? We have a big repair. We have a low appraisal. Is this going to be a dead deal? We had one recently where an appraisal came in low. The appraiser was struggling finding comps, and our buyers went out and saw a couple other properties, only to turn around and say, okay, we didn't like those. We're going to go back to the seller. We're going to kind of renegotiate the sales price. And they had already gotten their house that they were selling under contract. So they were under a really strict time constraint. So all this happened while they're under contract. They have their stuff packed up, ready to get out of their house, and they have to buy a house or else they're homeless or they have to find something temporary. So all that's going on. And that's stressful for me because I feel for them. I understand that they're going through this, and I want things to work out for them. So I would say that that's a big part of it is property issues, appraisal issues, because it just puts you in limbo.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think you and I have the same types of stresses, except when you're dealing with it on the paperwork end of it, and I'm working on it like the front line out there.
Yeah, true.
Right out there with people. Like repairs are a big one because you start doing things like septic tests, and the county's been changing a lot of the rules and regulations with septic tests, and maybe you've seen that too. But they've been a little more strict, and that is always a big one. Nobody wants to buy a septic system that isn't functioning properly. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And appraisers. You and I have been dealing with appraisers, especially this year. We've had a few appraisers that we've had repairs and some issues and things we had to get done. So that's always a little adventure.
Yeah,
sure.
No, absolutely. It's always a variable that, we hope that it was priced right. We hope that when a buyer's agent shows the property to their buyers, they say, okay, this price, I'm a little bit worried about it appraising. We'll see what it comes in. At, and if we have to adjust, we'll adjust. It's nice to actually have that conversation up front to say, hey, I'm kind of worried about this appraising. It might be a little bit overpriced, but we'll see what the market's doing. But luckily, I haven't really seen an appraisal value completely kill a deal recently. It's always, if we do have a low appraisal, maybe the buyer will extend, maybe the seller will lower their costs a little bit, and they'll meet in the middle. I know that you've really helped out people in the past with low appraisals and lowering a few things. So we all just try to work together and throw money here and there to try to make things work, because that's what we're all about, just trying to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is you have to have a team of people that are really all on board, flexible, willing to work together to make sure that the buyers, sellers, and everybody works out. But there's definitely stresses. But like you said, we've got them all to the table this year, knock on wood. So far we're doing well. But there's definitely stresses. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about buying a house, it happens. There's no way around it. Like there's certain things and there's certain moments that are a little more stressful than others, and we do the best we can to get you through them and explain stuff to you. But nothing ever goes absolutely perfectly smoothly. It just goes a little bit of stress, maybe a bump here and there, and we'll figure it out.
Well, I met with someone this morning that you had introduced me to. We met at 9:30 in my office this morning, and he didn't leave until about 10:45, just because I wanted to be as thorough as I possibly could, because he's a first-time home buyer. I went over every facet of what he's to expect. We talked about the loan program he's going to be in. I even talked about potential inspections that he might need, just so that there are no costs. There's nothing that's going to show up that he goes, wow, I didn't know about this. If he forgot about it, or if I just threw a lot of information his way and it just kind of all got jumbled up, I completely understand that, and I'll try to reiterate. But it's nice to at least just lay it all out there, and this is what you need to expect. Cost-wise and kind of, like you said, stress-wise, it's a lot of paperwork. But we laid it all out there, and he's ready.
That's good. Take somebody with a little experience that's done it before, that's been through bumps,
Yeah.
Especially foreclosures. Foreclosures really season you pretty quickly because there's a lot of craziness that happens with those things. But you do those because your clients can get good deals. But we've been through a lot, and we've handled the stress pretty well. I got a little more gray than I used to. If you can see some of the gray, this is not all from children and coaching. This is also from being a real estate agent. So
your hair matches your shirt. Salt and
yeah,
pepper.
yeah. Oh, it's a blue today. It was because of the rain. I had something that was fairly waterproofish while we did the zoo today. All right, next topic. Here we go. Curb appeal. I just did a video with Miss Deb Good, and she's a home stager out of the Annapolis area. Wonderful lady if you haven't seen it yet. And she and I go over the importance of make the curb appeal. And it doesn't just be if when you're selling a house. I mean, it's just by owning a house and having pride in your house. And she went over a list of really easy things that you can do to make your house like really stand out, really pop. One of which is just mulching. Go around the beds, mulch them. You can do like a black mulch, which is a little more expensive, or you can do a natural, which is a little bit less expensive, and you even do a red mulch and dyes and stuff. But it's really easy to inexpensive, and they deliver to your house just to mulch around there, throw some flowers down. Yeah. She and I talked about the fact that if you do flowers and shrubs and bushes, make sure that they're like Maryland, that they're from the area. Don't just pick it out because it's pretty. You may end up with something that's not indigenous, not from this area, and it might not work for you. It might die instantly. So do some homework. And I know my wife, and I talked about this in the video too, she picked out shrubs and stuff that were anti-deer. Like we don't get any nibbles on any of our plants, which is really good. And I give her all the credit. She really did her homework. But also that if you're living in a rural area, and a lot of Calvert's rural, so you got to be careful. You don't want like the rabbits and the deer and stuff, because you can say that's a beautiful purple tree, except that it's not purple because it got completely eaten. So it doesn't really make your house look good at all, right?
Where do you and Jen get your mulch and grass seed and all that kind of stuff, flowers? Where do you normally go?
Places. So usually we do 231 for the mulch, just because we're down here in the Prince Frederick type area. We're off of Wilson Road, so it's a really easy, quick delivery. We do Patuxent Nursery in Bowie area actually for trees and stuff, because they have a really good selection of like fairly priced mature style trees, and that's what we do usually for that. What about you?
Yeah, I went to 231 this year because I saw Erin Kimbrough, who was a former teacher of mine. She did a video on the turbo Nate. Grass seed, and Nate, Nate, Nate.
Nate, yeah.
On the turbo.
Dr. Nate Kimbrough.
Dr. Kimbrough. Wow. I'll have to say that next time I see him in the gym.
Yeah, try that.
But they suggested this turbo grass seed, which is it's super awesome stuff. It's a little more expensive, but Nate said that it did wonders for his yard. So I aerated and spread some on the yard about a month ago. So I'm starting to see it pop up. But they have great stuff, and it's a local business, like to support local business. So I like to go to 231 Farm Center, or I like to go to Ace in Lusby. Ace has a good selection of certain things. So no, I was just curious about that.
I told you the story about how we aerated our yard, right? We have my brother and I live next to each other, and we had his son has got like one of those little tractors, like the little powered ones, like a Hot Wheel style, and he hooked the aerator to the back of his little tractor, and that kid flies on that thing, and he did the whole yard in like half an hour. We were all aerated, so we get to just sit there and have a few beers and watch him aerate.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, like, oh, it's the greatest idea ever. I don't have to do any of that stuff.
He's doing a chore and he didn't even realize it.
He didn't even know it. I mean, it wasn't probably in the straightest of lines, but it's the end, right? He got it all aerated. It's fine. We're good.
Yep. Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, I have a question for you too. What color is your front door?
My front door is like a mahogany. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's like a mahogany brown.
On both sides?
Both sides. Yep.
Yep. That's ours. Same. Ours is the same. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things she talked about too, is she talked about essentially that you don't have to have like a bright colored front door. Like sometimes it just doesn't work for what you're trying to do. Like you have mahogany and I have a brown door, and she really liked that. And she said she doesn't really like the bright red, that those are like, that's just too much, like the bright red type stuff that a lot of times you want it to match the colors of your house, match the shutters, that kind of stuff. So
I mean, at one point, I think that was synonymous with the whole American dream house, the red door, the white picket fence. But I think, sometimes it looks good. I think styles have, like you said, evolved into more, matching type colors. I mean, I really like our door, that dark brown. It's classy. It's classy looking.
Yeah. So you're talking about this. And then she also mentioned if you have a house that's a little bit older, that just by taking those shutters off the house and spray painting them a certain color, like matte, to clean it up, that really makes your house pop too. You would be surprised. The house I lived on 3 houses ago. I had a little split foyer, and we had like blue faded shutters. And we took those down in my like a green to match the front door, and it really made a huge difference. And it was what, like a $7-8 can of paint, and it
That's a
was
good
like the
idea.
spray paint. It did all of them too, so it was really cheap. So those are all really cheap and easy solutions to make your front yard really pop and make that curb appeal good. And you don't have to be selling your house for that kind of stuff. You just want to have pride to make your house look nice, just like everybody else in the neighborhood. So
I
I was
just wrote that
confident.
down. Paint shutters.
Paint
Because
shutters.
we need to do
I needed a taller ladder than you probably do, though.
that.
You got me by like a foot and a half. I'm not that tall. All right, we're moving through curb appeal. Good. Yeah, this is a good one. What is your favorite part of this career so far, man? You and I have been doing this for quite some time, and we've been doing these videos and doing all kinds of fun stuff. What is your favorite part so far?
Not to sound like a broken record, we kind of already mentioned it. It's meeting new people. I really enjoyed, today
Yeah,
I had a referral, met him in my office. We just kind of talked about, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Where you went to Huntingtown High School? Okay, very cool. What year did you graduate? Do you know so-and-so? That's really fun to me to create those, that 6 degree of separation in Calvert County it's more like 2 or 3 degrees, right?
I was gonna
Um,
say it's like two,
yeah.
maybe.
So that's enjoyable to me. And then, hey, come out and have some ice cream with us. Come, to some of our events, and then we establish a really long relationship. I know that you have we have some past clients that I see at all of our events, and it's just
Yeah,
nice to catch up with them. You see their kids,
yeah,
you see their kids start to grow, and and then it's a lifelong relationship from there on out. So that's my favorite part of this career. Just advising people that I like and I get along with, and then it becomes a really good relationship.
yep. I'll take that, and I'll do one more too. And I'm sure you're gonna agree with me. This part too is the educating, the helping
Yes.
people, like being like somebody that they can trust to do the right thing for them. Because you hear in every profession, but you hear lots of horror stories of this happened, that happened, whatever. Being people that you can trust and teach them and kind of walk them through the whole process. I think that is really fun too. Like, hey, we got this next, and let's not just buy a house. Let's buy the one that's right for you, that works for your life, that your situation. The number of people that I've in the past like talked to and said, yeah, that mortgage payment you could afford, but you did talk about taking your kids to Disney, or you talked about doing this. And if you're going to do those kinds of things, let's go look at that other house that was, $30,000-$40,000 less than this one. So you can afford and do things and travel, because I'm hearing what you're saying, and the things you're saying about your style of life, your goals aren't really matching this kind of house unless that's really, really what you want. So
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing that part too, like educating, helping them, advising, doing that kind of stuff. But you're right on. I love meeting people. You got to have that genuine interest in humanity to really enjoy this job.
Well, I think a lot of people reach out to me just in the beginning. They say, "Okay, I need to go get a pre-approval letter." That's the reason why they call me. But after we actually have that first discussion and consultation, we sit down and talk about things. They realize that it's not just having a pre-approval letter in hand that they actually sat down and talked to me. It's to get an
Yeah.
entire idea of a base knowledge and education of what they're about to get themselves into and how that affects their finances. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
totally right.
Yep. Get themselves into. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
another part. You always get the call like, you didn't tell me it was gonna be this hard. I did. You just didn't believe me. I told you this is much fun. All these projects, but the projects are great, man. I love the projects. You do this, that. I just wish I had more time for that kind of projects. But
Yep, absolutely.
cool. We're on the same page, man. All right. Mortgage minute. Oh, the mortgage. You see the sun starting to come in? I'm getting blinded. Like it's actually peeking through the clouds here for a little bit. That's
Uh,
great.
you're further north than I am. We still have
I
clouds
am.
down here.
We're Huntingtown.
Yeah.
Human beings are solar powered, man. This is awesome. So I love some sunshine. So
All right.
mortgage minute, sir. What do you have for a mortgage minute?
I have two things I want to mention. One, I had something very recent happen that it was a learning experience for me, to be honest with you. Client came to me in the spring of last year, had fantastic credit scores, had great credit history. We went several months without speaking, and then he came back around and he wanted to, get back into it and actually look for a house. Well, he hadn't used credit in over 6 months. He had made his last payment on his auto loan, didn't have any credit cards, so he went dormant essentially to the bureaus. When I went
Wow.
to repull his credit, because reports are only good for 120 days, He had 0 scores. It was blank.
Zero
0
in six
scores.
months?
Not bad, not good, nothing, right? So,
Huh.
so what that does is, because he hasn't had any credit history, they don't have anything recent to score you off of. They can't just go back to past credit. So he didn't have enough recent stuff.
Never heard
So
of that.
what happened was he had to go open a credit card, put a small balance on it, and then just recently, it took about 35 to 40 days, he registered fantastic credit scores again. I mean, very, very good credit scores, but you have to maintain credit usage. So that's just a little pointer. You know, if you're living at home, you don't have to utilize credit. Let's say you're trying to pay things off. That's great, but make sure you're continuing to maintain some activity, because you want your scores to continue to go. You want to be ready once you actually find that house. You want to have those scores ready to be underwritten from a loan perspective. So that's number one. Continue to use credit. Number two, a lot of questions about rehab loans lately. I think it's because there's not a lot of inventory. People are kind of starting to think about secondary options. Okay, what if I found a fixer-upper? It's a great program. There's a lot of moving parts, because you have to go find contractors, third-party contractors, to submit bids so that you know exactly how much it's going to cost. So let's say you want to buy a house for $150. Okay, it needs $100,000 worth of work. Well, now you're working off of a $250,000 acquisition price. That's what you do, put your down payment off of, and you're going to finance all of those repairs and upgrades into your loan. We close on the purchase. Okay, you own the house. That's when the work starts. Okay, so there's a lot of moving parts in terms of the timeline, how the contractors get paid, and that kind of thing. But if you're thinking about that kind of thing, come to me, because this is a 30-second to a minute clip of what that entails, but it's really a longer conversation of what to expect out of that process. It's a great program. There are a lot of different fees involved that you might not have on a regular purchase, and a lot of different paperwork that you might need that you wouldn't need on a regular purchase. But make sure that you talk to me before you start thinking that that's a viable option, because you need to know that, first of all, you as the buyer cannot do any of the work. And it cannot be your father. It cannot be your brother. It has to be third party, separate, somebody that's outside of this transaction, that they don't have any type of, hand in actually, owning the property or having a family member own the property, because there could be some shady things going on. So call me if you have any questions about rehab loans. I know all about them. I've done them in the past, and we have an entire department that's dedicated to it.
Now, the big question I get from people in that scenario is, can they have a third party do like big stuff to get the house in livable condition? But let's say, for example, he's an electrician, or he likes to he can redo the cabinets himself. You can do that, right? You can just have that third party do the basics to make that a livable scenario, and then you can come back yourself and do the finished work.
If you just want to finance the items that need to make the house livable to pass a loan, that's totally fine. If you're just down to subfloors and you need flooring just to get it to pass an inspection, that's totally fine. And then go in and do some of the preferential work that you might want to do on your own. But you're going to have to find your own funds to do that. So that's the only thing. You can't finance, you can't draw cash in order to pay for materials for you to do your own work. That's going to have to be out-of-pocket expense. So that's the only difference.
I would love to be able to share all the crazy pictures I see of hairy homeowners doing their own work around their place. Like the picture, I can't, because that's not as professional as you. But man, there is some crazy stuff out there that people do. It's amazing. And I send him. I have a buddy that builds houses up in Pittsburgh area, and I always send him like, "So what do you think? This the code?" And he just gets this like, "What kind of houses are you showing?" I'm like, hairy homeowner stuff, man. The guy thinks he can do tile work, or the person thinks they can do electric work, and then you get all kinds of crazy stuff. But
sometimes it's best to know what your limitations are.
Yeah,
I certainly know mine. I call my father-in-law; he helps me out. So
that's awesome. All right, cool. All right, that kind of wraps it up for us this month. As always, if you want to, firstly, if you have any things you want to announce, like we went over, a lot of you joined late. Events that are taking place April and May, and you have one or know of one, just comment and we'll share it. We love sharing the events that are going on in the area. I know the North Beach Farmers Market's coming up soon too. I don't know the exact date, but I didn't see it on any of the stuff yet. But I know that's coming up too. So if you have any of that, let us know. And as we talked about in this video, if you want to sit down, grab a cup of coffee or get lunch or something and hang out, catch up on things, see how things are going, That's awesome too. Be sure you come by our ice cream social, and that's once again May 12th, 11 to 1 at the Penguin, Cold Penguin, right there in North Beach. And like I said, you don't have to be buying a house. You can just stop by and get some free ice cream from Tim and I because it's delicious.
Sure.
And you should go down and see North Beach because the weather's going to start getting nice and it's going to start getting busy down there. So come on down and see us as well.
You're not going to wear a Penguins jersey, are you?
No, you know what? I don't think I even have one.
I'm a little bit bitter about my Caps right now. So
I have a Penguins shirt, and it's Bruce Orpik, who's now actually – is he still with Caps? Or
yeah, Orpik still plays for Caps, yeah.
He was my favorite. I loved myself some Bruce Orpik, and then they got rid of him. But I understood it was a cap situation. It was a money situation. So
always is.
Can't blame the guy.
I'm excited to get some ice cream. Everyone needs to come out because it's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
There's awesome. No reason not to.
It's free. And you get a chance to meet us for a few minutes and check out the boardwalk. It's win for everybody, win. And I think I saw name some of their Megan Jones. If you're still on there, happy birthday. I think you just had a birthday too. So happy birthday to you. All right. We'll see everybody May 12th. Look out again for us next month. If you want any other topics or anything you want us to talk about, cover, help you with, also feel free to comment. We can help you with any of that stuff. So,
or if you'd like to come on the video,
we're still working on guests. We're going to work on that.
I have this space right here that could perfectly – somebody could sit right next to me and we could talk together. So if you'd like to promote your business. I
got a couple of people in mind. We'll have to start talking to some folks and throw them on there.
Yeah.
So we'll do that too. Maybe next month. We have it in, 30 more days. Well, May.
That's right. Yep. Let us know.
We'll work on that. Because, yeah, you're right. At some point, the Tim and Billy show, I mean, they're going to be like, hey, we want some special guests. We need somebody else on.
That's right. Yeah, call us. Let us know if you want to be on. If you want to promote a business, we'd be happy to have you.
Awesome. Tim, thank you very much. We'll see you here soon, sir.
Thanks, Billy. I appreciate it, bud.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching.